Hello, hello, hello. This is pretty much my first YouTube video, and the reason I'm making this video is to explain why the fuck I moved to Turkey. I'm not from Turkey. I'm not Turkish. I have no relation to the country. So that's why I'm kind of explaining why I'm here. So for those of you who don't know me, if you're watching this, you probably know me, but if you don't know me, my name is Sir King Castro. I'm a multidisciplinary artist. I do fashion, I do music, I do design, I do acting, everything. But yeah, I'm gonna basically just run through what led me to move to Turkey, and what my plans are while I'm here. And maybe if you're watching this, this can inspire you to make a move somewhere that you've been thinking of moving, or you're just a creative, you're an entrepreneur, whatever, you just want to travel. This video is for you. So yeah, let me start with how did I even get here? You know what I mean? What led up to all of this? So I pursued visual art from 0 to 12 years old, and then I did a musical. I went to art school for 6th grade. When I went back the next year, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be an acting major. So from 7th grade till 12th grade, I was a acting major, a musical theater major eventually. And I was like, I'm gonna be an actor on stage, that's what I want to do. So I applied to theater schools, and I got into 2 musical theater programs, which musical theater was my passion. So I ended up going to Roosevelt University in Chicago. Fuck Roosevelt University. I did my freshman year, and I did my sophomore year. My sophomore year, that's when the pandemic hit, at the end of my sophomore year. And that, I would say, wasn't the only reason that I dropped out, but it was definitely the last straw for me. And so I was kind of unhappy with that training. I was already getting some work outside of school in the city. There was also a lot of issues with racism that was just terrible. It was a really bad environment, really toxic environment. So I already had had wanted to drop out probably since freshman year. But before the pandemic, I was like, I'm just gonna finish. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna finish. I kind of had a moment where I felt really uncreative and so creatively empty. And I was at the time doing a Shakespeare show. I didn't feel fulfilled in school at all. I did not feel fulfilled. And as an artist and just as a human in general, I didn't have a social life. I was just constantly in class 24/7. It was just not really healthy. I lost weight, and I thought that I looked good, but looking back, it was just really bad for my mental health. And I didn't look healthy. I was not healthy when I was in school. Bear in mind too that for the past 9 years, I had been doing acting, just acting, nothing else. I still did some little sketching here and there, but I really fell off with my visual art and just expressing myself in ways other than theater. And so when I went to such an intense program where all we were doing is theater, it really kind of sucked the joy out of it for me. And so it wasn't fulfilling me anymore. One day, I was in rehearsal for Love's Labor's Lost. I found a sketchbook, or I bought a sketchbook or something, and I brought it to rehearsal, and I was sitting there waiting for my scene or something, and trying to think of something to draw, and I just couldn't think of anything. I learned this great lesson from my creative writing teacher, Justin Longacre. Shouts out Justin Longacre, best English teacher, best creative writing teacher ever. Amazing man. He would say this thing in class, and he would always say, just do the damn thing. So I was sitting there, and I was trying to think of what to draw, and I was like, okay, Longacre, just do the damn thing. So I was like, let me just come up with anything. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do okay, I like Picasso, something Picasso style, but I'm gonna put a twist on it. I had just seen Hereditary and Midsummer, and like, man, I was just so obsessed with the lead actresses' performances in those movies, and like, just like the way, man, like Ari Aster like portrayed like anguish. It had been on my mind like, all summer, you know. So I was like, let me do a little like mix it with the Picasso, and I felt like it was kind of like unoriginal. It felt like uninspired, but I just did it. And I was like, man, this shit's raw. I was like, I could put it on a t-shirt, and then I was like, why don't I just do it? You know, fuck it. Like I can make this shit into actual clothes. Like I'm in Chicago. I'm in a big city. I'm sure there's some way I can actually do this. I'd always wanted to make a brand. From that point forward was when I really got reinvested back into visual art and all arts, not just theater. Because from that point forward, I went to the thrift store. I got like the freshest jeans I could find at the thrift store, and I started painting on them with this like really amazing iridescent paint or pearlescent paint, and you know, painted these same faces that I was drawing on the pants. I did this all like kind of like in secret. Not in secret, I mean like people close to me knew, but I wasn't really posting it on social media or anything. And I think I painted 16 pairs of pants. I painted 16 pairs of pants, which took me like maybe a month or 2 months. Because, reminder, like I was still doing the 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. thing. But like when I had some free time, I was painting, and it made me happy. You know what I mean? Like I was feeling so burnt out. Channeling my creativity to another thing like made me feel so much better, and just like really like helped me get through that year, and like boosted my confidence and my creativity, and like just improved my life a lot. But I did that. I made a website, did a photo shoot with my friends. It was super fun, and the pictures turned out amazing. I just dropped it, I dropped it, boom, 16 pairs, full collection with a nice photo shoot, like lookbook sort of thing. And nobody bought any. Nobody bought anything. But I still felt so good, you know. I made something. I did something, and I did it by myself, and it felt really good. And like after that, like I was kind of addicted. Like I was like, this shit's so fun. I always secretly wanted to be like a fashion designer, but I was like, I was really committed to this acting path. But I was like, fuck it, like why not do both? So from then on, I was kind of like, okay, I'm gonna try to do like a dual career path, which I was really inspired by Jeremy O'Harris. If you don't follow Jeremy O'Harris on Instagram, follow him. Playwright of Daddy and Slave Play. I haven't read Daddy, but Slave Play is amazing. You should check him out. But I was inspired by him because he's kind of in the fashion world and in the playwriting world at the same time. So I was like, if he can do it, why can't I do it? So I was following that path, and like just like as the year went on, like I just got like less and less excited and more jaded about the theater industry. So I had sent an email to my professors saying like, I'm thinking about dropping out. I don't know. So sophomore year finished up with COVID, and I was just like, wow, this sucks. By this point, I had got together with like my friend Herbert, and we had been talking all through the COVID about the protests, about the political state of the country, about the state of our industry too. So then Herbert got together, me and another friend Leah, and we all got together and started a company called Black and Common. Around like July, we all moved into an apartment together. We interviewed Black artists from all over the country, in person in Chicago and over Zoom in other places. And we talked about like what was happening in the country. We talked about their art. We talked about creative process, and we talked about what it means to be an artist and how you can succeed, and loving yourself, and feeling like there isn't a place for you, but knowing that you can actually make your own place. I worked on that for a few months, and I was the director of design, so I was doing our merchandise, our clothing. So I designed one collection for Black and Common. We released it on my birthday. After that released, it was like I'm doing the merch for the company, and I'm also like really trying to like pop off my own career at the same time. So we kind of came to agreement that I would come away from the company. And so I came away from the company to focus more on my own career. Right after that, my dad was like, you should come to Turkey. My dad lives here. Um, he's lived here for like 6 years. He wanted me to come for a whole month, and I was like, shit, like it's a lot of time. But then I was like kind of free from those obligations, so I was like, fuck it. So I came here and I visited my dad, and that was in November. So I ended up staying for 3 months. I was here for 3 months, and while I was here, I started a clothing line. I started doing a jewelry line, and I was also helping my dad with his company as well, which he's a jeweler. And I also met like so many incredible artists and just like cool people while I was here. And Turkey's mad cheap. It's really cheap. $1 is 7 or 8 of their dollars, depending on like what the exchange rate is. Basically, it was like, okay, I dropped out of school. I left my company. I was paying $550 a month to rent an apartment in Chicago, and I had no reason to be in Chicago anymore. I was struggling every single month to pay my rent. Like every month I was just stressed as fuck, trying to just hustle and get my rent together. And I was just super anxious. I was really irritable and angry. I was depressed, and I just felt kind of trapped, by my financial situation. So coming here, like I just kept extending my stay. I stayed for 1 month, and then I stayed for 2 months, and then I stayed for 3 months, and then it was like, I'm gonna move here because I'm wasting my money basically living in Chicago. Basically, all of these things combined for me to be like, fuck it, I'm moving. The cost of living is cheap, as you can see. It's a beautiful city. There's a sea. It's right in the middle of the world, so to go pretty much anywhere in the world is like cheaper than anywhere else in the world. I went back to Chicago, and I worked on getting rid of all of my shit and transferring my lease. I did that and just kind of chilled, and then I went back to Ohio. I'm from Toledo, Ohio. I went back to Ohio for another month, and I stayed with my mom and my stepdad for about a month, and my little brother, and we got a dog. So it was actually really nice to be home and spend time with my family. And the little dog, his name is Morales, and just kind of like recharge and save money. By the way, the money I saved is unemployment money, so I saved up all of my unemployment money, so I had like several $1,000s saved up so that I could move here. So that's like kind of what I'm living off of right now. My plan for while I'm here is I have one clothing collection. I also have a jewelry line that will be coming out probably around the same time. And I wish I had one of the pieces so I could show you. I was actually going to grab them today, but it didn't end up happening. I also have a jewelry line, and then while I was in Toledo, I also created a sculpture, I'm keeping that one on the down low. That one's kind of secret. I'm not going to let y'all know exactly what's happening with that, but trust me, it's going to be fucking dope. And yeah, saw the Black Angel Baby, which that's another thing. I came up with the Black Angel Baby like October of last year, and so like I've really been running with that idea. So that's my plan, and this next week I'm moving into my apartment, which is super exciting. And like basically like once I'm settled in, like I'm just ready to just go in, hustle harder than I ever have before, and also just like focus on myself and my health, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual. Yeah, I'm not trying to rush anything. I really want to put out quality shit only. That's the MO. But yeah, I'm excited. I think it's good. I think it's really good. And I think I'm going to accomplish a lot while I'm here.